Today is the day that we finally get to throw the coilovers on the car. So I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but if you don't, here is my Instagram here. I have been teasing these wheels, and then they also made an appearance in the last video when I installed the dash cam. So I had to throw these on earlier than I thought. So I got a flat tire on the stocks, and it was like a screw that was like this big. It was unrepairable, and a stock tire costed like $500. So I just went ahead and threw on these wheels and tires on stock height, which I didn't want to do that, but I really didn't have a choice, so it looked okay. But today we're going to be throwing on Fortunato coilovers, and we're going to get that fitment dialed in just right. We also have Megan Racing rear lower control arms and toe arms to help dial in the alignment. So let's go ahead and get this video started. Alright, sorry if there's some fan noise. It is hot as crap in Texas right now, but these are the Fortunato coilovers I got from Cygnus Performance. We did go with the black Swift springs. The thing that sucked about these is it did take about 2.5 months to get, but I'm so glad they finally got here. And we also have these Fortunato coilover covers, because I know when I had my BC racing coils, there'd be some stuff would kind of get caked in the threads, and that could lead to seized coilovers. So I think we're gonna throw on those covers. They don't look the best, but I think it's gonna protect the coilovers for a long time, and I think it's gonna be a good idea. So we already have the car on jack stands. I'm gonna go ahead and take the wheels off, and let's get right into this install. All right, we got all the wheels off. I think I'm gonna start with the passenger front. The garage is already a mess. Front passenger side is out. Alright, so quick update. I got the front passenger one all in. So when you're lowering the car, you're gonna have to upgrade the sway bar end links. So Fortunato does provide these. So I might upgrade them one day, but for now, hopefully they'll work. I've heard some people say they make noise, but I wonder if they used this washer in here, because it seems like when this is there, then it's not going to have any movement. But of course I'm going to wait to tighten everything until the vehicle's under load, or at least the sway bar end link. So we're going to go ahead and do the driver front, and then we'll move on to the back. So this is the stock sway bar end link. As you can see, you will need, I got these T-handles at Harbor Freight. This is a 6mm, because you will need a T-handle, and then you will need a pass-through socket. So I got these at Harbor Freight as well. If I didn't have these, I would not have been able to get one of these bolts off. So it was actually very difficult, even with these tools. But then the driver's side, the bolts came right off. So you never know. It's good to just have the tools. And I'm just trying to give some tips that I think will help you guys out when you install suspension on the VB. Alright, both of the fronts are done. So Fortunato does have a little tab on here that said preload was set. This top Allen key bolt was loose, so the preload was definitely messed up. So I feel like if they're gonna set preload, then they need to tighten this top Allen key, because I pretty much had to look up how to set preload. To my understanding, they have a preload set to 1/4 of an inch. So it's a 7-inch spring, and setting preload to 1/4 of an inch means that you want your spring to measure 6 3/4 of an inch. So that's what I did. So on both of the fronts, the spring measures 6 3/4 of an inch. Now I'm going to move on to the rears. So I do have rear lower control arms and toe arms, like I said, so it'll probably take me a little longer than just coils. But I will let you know if I have any hiccups or if I have any tips for you guys. Alright everyone, it is now a couple weeks later. Apologies I didn't show much more of the install. It took a lot longer than I thought. I started on a Saturday, probably put in like 8 or 9 hours, and then had to come back Sunday and do some adjusting. So it probably took me around like 14 or 15 hours to do the install, and that was with minimal filming. The one thing that I don't like about the coilovers is you're gonna have to put it on the ground and then you're gonna have to lift it up because it's gonna be all sorts of jacked up. The first time I dropped it, it was pretty much stock height. So then I had to raise the car back up, put it on jack stands, take the wheels off, adjust the coilovers. Then I dropped it again and it was too low. So then I had to raise it up, and I think I found the perfect height because I am not rubbing at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how it looks. All right, so this is the final product. I think it looks amazing. I don't remember the exact measurements, but I wanna say the fronts are about 25 millimeters of thread. And then I think the backs are around 23 or 24. They're a couple millimeters less thread, but I think it's like the perfect wheel gap. There's probably about a finger gap in between all four corners. I'm not rubbing at all. So here's a look at the front from the side. And then I literally think it's the perfect fitment. Big shout out to Texas Track Works. That's where I went to get my alignment. They're in like South Fort Worth. If you're in the DFW area, you should definitely check them out. So we're running 1.5 degrees camber up front and then 2 in the rear. So I think that's literally the perfect amount of camber to where the rears aren't excessive, but also, like I said, I'm not rubbing. So here's what the rears look like. I did do some trimming on the plastic up here. I didn't really show that, of course, because I was literally running out of time. But I did do some trimming on the rears. Did not touch the fronts at all, and I did not touch the metal. And I think we're gonna be good. So I'm really happy with how this came out. Now I'm just gonna give you some info on again, what coilovers I went with, what wheels these are, and the tires to get this fitment. Okay, so like y'all saw in the earlier clips, I went with the Fortune Auto 500 coilovers, and I opted for the Swift Spring upgrade. Big shout out to Cygnus Performance for the great deal on these. It did take about 2 months to get, which was a little bit of a downside. I did buy them right before the tariffs hit and the prices increased, so I feel like I got the best deal possible on these. So for the wheels, these are Titan 7 TS5s. They are a forged wheel, and the specs are 18 by 10 plus 40 all around, of course. I wanted to go with something different because I feel like everyone runs gram lights or TEs, and I definitely didn't want to do reps. So I found this company, and they were a little pricey, but I found this great deal on Marketplace, and me and my wife Lauren drove from Dallas Fort Worth area to Austin, so about 4 hours, to pick up these wheels for a steal. And I've actually had these wheels for like 2 or 3 months now before the coilovers got installed, so they have literally just been sitting waiting to go on. So for the tires, these are going to be the Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus. These are run by a lot of people in the Subaru community, and so far they feel great. So since it is a 10 wide wheel, I had to go a little wider of a tire, so these are 265/35 18s. There is like the tiniest amount of stretch, like tiny, but I think that is what helped it be able to fit without rubbing. So here's the front. So I literally think this is the best spec because the wheels look aggressive at being a 10 wide, but given the 40 millimeter offset, they're not too aggressive, so you will be able to run them without running like crazy amounts of camber. So I did want to mention a few things. I did go with the Megan Racing rear lower control arms and tow arms like you saw. That'll definitely help dial in your alignment and also pull out some negative camber, because when you lower the car, the natural camber is going to go way in. So I think it was at like -3.5, so they were able to pull some out, and then when you adjust the camber, it's going to adjust the toe, so you're going to need tow arms to correct that. I also did want to mention up front, the Fortune Auto coilovers came with these sway bar end links. These are absolute garbage. I went just on a test drive around the neighborhood, and there was so much clunking. It literally sounded like the suspension was gonna fall out, and I literally went like 10 miles per hour. So I was like, what the heck is that noise? It was the aftermarket sway bar end links. So I was able to swap back the stocks in and literally zero noise. So I think I'm gonna upgrade to the SPC ones, because you can swap out your sway bar end links without having to do another alignment, since it's just your sway bar. Just wanted you guys to know that if you are going to be installing these, I would not install those sway bar end links, because you're going to run into some issues. I would just either go ahead and put the stock ones back in, or you can get some aftermarket ones and just bite the bullet. They're only like 125, 150 bucks, so they're super cheap, and it's going to be a good investment for your ride. Of course, with the Fortunatos, you do have the adjustable dampening. The setting that I am right now is on 6 clicks from the softest, and I feel like it literally rides perfect. I do notice first thing in the morning, there does seem to be like some creaking noise. I think it's the pillow ball. I did reach out to Fortunato, and they did mention that's pretty normal. So if you do get that creaking noise from the pillow ball, just know it is pretty normal. But to try to help mitigate this sound, they said you could remove the little adjuster with a 2mm Allen, and then this is going to be a 21mm. He did say to blip it with the impact to see it, make sure this is tight. And then if it is tight, he said that you could put some white silicone grease on there, and that might help. But I might try that. Everything is torqued down, so it might just be something that's going to be normal with the pillow ball, but I might try to grease it, and if that helps, I will let you guys know. What is next for the car? I definitely want to paint match this front lip, and I think I'm going to attempt to do that DIY. I've been watching some videos on how to do that, and I feel pretty comfortable. I think I'm going to get the CS style grill, so that's going to be like the badgeless grill. I think I'm going to go with the JD Muscle one, because I would go with the Import Image Racings, but it seems like it's out of stock at the moment. Other than that, I can't decide if I want to go STI wing or not. I know it would look good, but also I have found like a cool little carbon fiber duckbill that I think would look great. So I think before I drill, I think I might try that out and see how it looks. I think the wingless look would look clean, especially like from this angle. I think wingless would look great. The cap back sounds great. I might do the intermediate pipe to get rid of the secondary cap, but other than that, I really don't plan on doing many engine mods until this warranty kind of runs out. I know this new VB is a pretty reliable platform, but I really don't want anything to happen. I've seen people run tunes for tens of thousands of miles and have no issues, and then I've seen people run tunes and at 10,000 miles, either their engine grenades or their third gear goes out because they put too much torque or power on it. Also, I do want to hear your guys' opinions on if I should replace the fender flares. So with the fitment, how it is, I feel like this fitment is perfect the way it is, and I really don't want to go the 10mm wider fenders, because then the tires are going to look kind of sunken in. So I might just try to find like a second set of flares and get them painted so they'll be the stock size, because like I said, I really don't want them any wider, because the fitment is really where I want it to be at the moment, and I really don't want to have to do spacers and extended studs, because I feel like that's just going to be a headache, all for painted flares. I think for now I'm just going to rock them as is, because honestly I think on the black they don't look that bad. They're like a nice contrast, but I feel like once I get the lip painted, because it is so faded from the Texas sun, so once I get the lip painted and then get a new grill, I think the front end's gonna look great. So I think that is all I have. I did want to mention that me and Lauren are gonna go to Slammed Enough Gatlinburg first weekend of October in Tennessee. We're super excited because we've never been to Tennessee. We're gonna take the VB, and I think it's gonna be a great time. Of course, I'm not going to be in the show because it's nowhere near ready. I think we're going to have a great time anyways. There's going to be cars all over the place, and from the videos I've seen, it looks like a ton of fun. So I think that is going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry if this is too much talking. I really just didn't know what to do. I wanted to finish out this video because, again, sorry I didn't include much install. It was just a huge headache, and just doing this by myself on a garage floor with jack stands was no fun, especially on a weekend to where Monday I had to figure out my alignment, so I was on like a tight schedule. But we got it done, and I think it looks amazing. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.